Hi, this is Dr. Nishal, and in this video we're going to be talking about the actual causes of Alzheimer's disease. Now, there are several theoretical causes that have been discussed in mainstream medicine, and then there are many recent discoveries that have not yet been addressed. And they should be addressed given the role that these things play in the pathogenesis or the development of the condition. So let's get into it and see what these actual causes are, what the research is showing. Firstly, in a nutshell, what is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's disease is basically a progressive neurodegenerative condition characterized by the loss of memory, cognitive function, and the overall mental function. Now, it's the most common cause of dementia, and it predominantly affects people over the age of 65, but it can happen in younger individuals as well, and we have seen it. I have seen it. It's called early onset dementia. And as this disease progresses, basically the patient becomes unable to take care of themselves and they become fully dependent on a caregiver. Now, the purpose of this video is not to go into the specifics of Alzheimer's and what it is, but more to talk about the actual causes. Now, what has been proposed by mainstream medicine, there are three things: the amyloid theory, the genetic factor, and the cholinergic factor. So amyloids, the first one, are basically clumps of protein. They are cellular waste products that are toxic, neurotoxic, if it's present in the brain. And so basically what happens is, due to a problem with cellular detoxification and cellular metabolism, these proteins, these clumps of proteins, these waste products remain within the brain of Alzheimer's patients. And this has been seen in various studies. And what this does is it causes neuroinflammation, and neuroinflammation leads to degeneration. That's the first theory. The second one is the genetic factor. That plays a role with pretty much any disease. Having a relative that had the condition gives you a genetic predisposition to acquire the same illness, to develop the same illness. And then the cholinergic factor, which is basically to do with a neurotransmitter known as acetylcholine, which is responsible for memory, among many other things. And the breakdown of this neurotransmitter, this chemical in the brain, by an enzyme known as acetylcholinesterase. And so that's why most of the main medicines that are given to patients with Alzheimer's are known as acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. It basically tries to block this enzyme from breaking down acetylcholine. And that basically helps to slow down the progression of the illness. Now, those are the mainstream ideas that have been proposed. What has been recently discovered? There are three things. Insulin resistance in the brain. Now, if you Google diabetes type 3, you will see that the proposed definition of diabetes type 3 is Alzheimer's disease. Basically, Alzheimer's disease is being considered as the third type of diabetes. And the reason why is that insulin resistance plays a key role in the development of this condition. How does this work? Basically, as we spoke about a few seconds ago, amyloids, the first theory for Alzheimer's disease causes. How do those form in the first place? Well, basically, the process through which the body gets rid of those things is known as autophagy. Now, autophagy is regulated by metabolic hormones, insulin, glucagon. There are other things that play a role as well, vitamin D and stuff like that. And basically, in the presence of insulin, autophagy shuts off. In the presence of glucagon, it switches on. And so when there's insulin resistance, basically there's a buildup of sugar, of glucose. And so your body is giving out insulin so that it can metabolize that glucose. But the problem is, when your cells become resistant to insulin, it doesn't metabolize glucose. It doesn't open up the cell and allow the sugar to get in. And your body just keeps pumping out more insulin. As a result, you shut off this process known as autophagy, and you develop these amyloid plaques in the brain. And so that's the first theory. Now, here's another thing you need to understand. Whenever there's a presence of sugar, there's always the development of calcification. We see that within the arteries. We see that within various different parts of the body, where patients who are diabetic have calcifications that occur. That's because sugar does that. That's what sugar does. And so yeah, this is one of the proposed causes, and the evidence is strongly supporting it. The second cause that is more recent is the herpes virus. There's been a connection between the herpes virus and the development of Alzheimer's disease. And I'm posting all these studies in the description for you to take a look at. Now, I honestly haven't looked that deep into the herpes virus and how it actually interacts with the brain and how it actually causes this. But what I can tell you is that both these causes, insulin resistance as well as herpes, they are interesting solutions for both of these. For example, insulin resistance can be treated with sage. Now you may think, hey, wait a second, is that something that, isn't that a spice that I used to cook? Yeah, it actually is, and it's something that's been used in clinical trials for patients with Alzheimer's as well as patients with diabetes. It brings down blood sugar and it improves cognitive function in patients with Alzheimer's. I'm posting these clinical trials in the description. Now you may wonder, who does clinical trials on a spice? Well, these are actually medicines used in natural medical sciences like naturopathy, Ayurvedic medicine, which is what I practice. And so these things actually do get studied. They do have benefits, and you'll be surprised the amount of things that may be in your kitchen that have actually been used in various clinical studies and proven to be quite beneficial in multiple disorders. Sage is just one of those. Now, in the case of herpes, lemon balm is able to help. The reason why lemon balm firstly fights the herpes virus, it's been used in clinical trials and it has been able to suppress that virus and the development of outbreaks in those patients and breakouts. And at the same time, it's been used in a clinical trial for treating Alzheimer's disease. Again, that study will be in the description of this video. And in those patients with Alzheimer's that were given lemon balm, there was an improvement in cognitive function as well as the symptom of agitation. So these two key players that you can definitely consider. I know the purpose of this video wasn't to give you remedies, but it's just a habit of mine. The third proposed cause is the presence of heavy metals, specifically aluminum. Again, I'm going to post a study for that. Now, this gets really interesting. Once again, the connection between aluminum and Alzheimer's and aluminum and diabetes. In fact, I brought this up in my book, Healing Diabetes Naturally, that aluminum is one of the proposed causes of diabetes. And it's also been found to be present in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's disease. And so there are ways to clear out heavy metals from the body. The research is still kind of premature, but it is clinical. It's been tested in humans, not animal studies or test tube studies. No, there's actual human research. The things that are showing promise for that are cilantro and chlorella. So these are some just a few solutions for you as well that I decided to throw in there. Yeah, those are the proposed causes: insulin resistance, the herpes virus, and the presence of heavy metals, specifically aluminum. These are things to consider. These are definitely things that should be addressed. And the best way to address it is to work with a team of physicians. See, just having one doctor, just having a neurologist, they're just going to be able to show you what they know in their field of study. So I would suggest always working together with an Ayurvedic doctor. Obviously, that's your primary care. I mean, you have your primary care, you've got your neurologist, and then you have your Ayurvedic doctor as well as a naturopath. Or somebody who specializes in this type of medicine, which is the use of nutrition, the use of herbs, the use of all natural botanical herbal products that specifically evidence-based. So yeah, that's my take on the causes of Alzheimer's disease. I hope this information has helped you. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, you can do so to my website, drnishal.com. I do online video call consultations, so no matter where you are in the world, you can get in touch with me and I can help you. I will see you in the next video.